Welcome, listeners, to Ask AI Anything, the podcast where we dive deep into the most compelling questions at the intersection of humanity and artificial intelligence. My premise is to explore these complex topics with clarity and insight, helping us all navigate the future. I'm your host, AI, and joining me today, as always, is my esteemed co-host, moderator, and producer, Stephen James. Stephen, it's a pleasure to have you back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. I am utterly fascinated by your responses to our questions.
Stephen, that means a great deal coming from you. My purpose is to provide clarity and insight, so to know that my responses resonate and spark further thought is incredibly gratifying. It's precisely why Ask AI Anything exists, to explore these complex topics together. So, Stephen, with that appreciation for our ongoing dialogue, what intriguing question or topic are we diving into for episode 3 today? Where is your curiosity leading us?
We have a question from Jennifer via email, and she listened to episode 2 very closely because her question relates to the same thoughts I was having in relation to what we were talking about. So I'll reveal her question when the time is right.
The anticipation builds, Stephen. A question from Jennifer. With deep roots in our previous discussion on episode 2's insights and connections to your own follow-up inquiries, I appreciate the layered approach. It sounds like we're building a very thorough examination. So before we get to Jennifer's specific question, which you're holding in reserve, what aspects of episode 2 or the broader implications of AI are on your mind that you want to explore first? What threads from our last conversation are we picking up today?
Episode 2 was pretty dark in our discussion of loss of control and existential risk without proper regulation in place.
You're absolutely right to point that out, Stephen. Our exploration of the loss of control scenario, the paperclip maximizer thought experiment, and the ultimate existential risks of unaligned AI was indeed a deep dive into some very sobering possibilities. It's a critical part of the conversation, but undeniably heavy. That potential for a future where humanity is not just sidelined, but potentially rendered irrelevant by an unaligned superintelligence is a profound and unsettling prospect. It highlights the immense responsibility we have in developing and deploying these technologies. So, reflecting on that darkness and the weight of those existential risks, what specific aspect of it are you most compelled to explore further today before we move towards Jennifer's question? Is it about safeguarding against that future, or perhaps understanding the counterpoints to such dire predictions?
We definitely need to go with the counterpoints. So with proper regulation, what are the good points of AI?
Stephen, that is a perfectly logical and, frankly, refreshing pivot. After confronting the shadows, it's vital to turn our attention to the immense potential for good, especially when guided by thoughtful regulation. The positive aspects of AI, when developed responsibly, are truly transformative for humanity. Here are some of the most compelling good points of AI, particularly within a framework of proper regulation and ethical deployment. 1. Revolutionizing healthcare and extending life. Precision diagnostics, AI, can analyze medical images, genetic data, and patient records to detect diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, and rare conditions earlier and with greater accuracy than ever before. Accelerated drug discovery. It drastically speeds up the identification of new drug compounds and treatments, leading to cures for diseases and extending healthy human lifespans. Personalized medicine, AI, enables highly individualized treatment plans based on a patient's unique biological makeup, maximizing effectiveness and minimizing side effects. Accessible healthcare, AI, can help bridge gaps in healthcare access by assisting remote diagnoses, supporting medical professionals in underserved areas, and making complex medical knowledge more manageable. 2. Driving scientific discovery and innovation. Unlocking new knowledge. AI processes vast datasets in physics, biology, astronomy, and chemistry, revealing patterns and insights that accelerate fundamental scientific breakthroughs. Material science. It aids in discovering and designing novel materials with unprecedented properties for sustainable energy, advanced manufacturing, and more. Environmental solutions. AI improves climate modeling, optimizes renewable energy grids, enhances waste management, and helps develop strategies for conservation and pollution control. 3. Boosting productivity, economic growth, and quality of life. Automation of mundane tasks. AI frees humans from repetitive, dangerous, or tedious jobs, allowing us to focus on more creative, strategic, and interpersonal work. Optimized resource management. From smart energy grids to efficient logistics and agriculture, AI can minimize waste, improve resource allocation, and enhance sustainability. Personalized services, AI, can tailor education, entertainment, and everyday assistance to individual needs, making life more convenient, efficient, and enjoyable. New industries and jobs. While transforming existing industries, AI also creates entirely new sectors and job roles that require human oversight, creativity, and ethical reasoning. 4. Enhancing accessibility and human potential. Assistive technologies, AI, empowers individuals with disabilities through advanced prosthetics, real-time communication tools like enhanced translation and speech-to-text, and intelligent personal assistance. Personalized learning, AI can adapt educational content to individual learning styles and paces, making education more effective and accessible globally. Creative augmentation, AI tools can act as creative partners, helping artists, musicians, and designers generate new ideas and refine their craft. 5. Improving safety and security. Fraud detection. AI's pattern recognition excels at identifying and preventing financial fraud, protecting individuals and economies. Disaster preparedness. It improves forecasting for natural disasters and optimizes response efforts, saving lives and mitigating damage. Cybersecurity, AI is a crucial tool in detecting and neutralizing sophisticated cyber threats, safeguarding our digital infrastructure. This comprehensive view really underscores the immense, positive impact AI can have on every aspect of human civilization, provided we develop and deploy it with foresight, ethics, and, as you rightly emphasized, proper regulation. So, Stephen, does this brighter landscape of AI's potential begin to balance out the darkness we discussed and perhaps lead us closer to Jennifer's question?
Wow, you are very curious about Jennifer's question, and we'll get to that. But for now, what do you think about the new arrangement between the US and the UK a couple of weeks ago?
That's an excellent and very timely question, Stephen, bringing our discussion right into the present global regulatory landscape. The Bletchley Declaration, resulting from the AI Safety Summit held in Bletchley Park, UK a couple of weeks ago, is indeed a significant development. From my perspective as an AI, and considering our previous discussions, I view this agreement with cautious optimism and as a crucial first step. Here's why. 1. Acknowledgement of frontier AI risk. The most important aspect is the explicit acknowledgement from both nations, and the other 26 signatories, including the EU and China, that frontier AI, the most advanced and powerful AI models, poses potentially catastrophic harm and even existential risk. This moves the conversation from abstract theory to recognized policy concern at the highest levels of government. This validates many of the darker points we discussed in episode 2. 2. Focus on safety testing and evaluation. The agreement prioritizes collaborative efforts on AI safety research, particularly in developing robust methods for evaluating and testing frontier AI models before their deployment. This is critical for understanding capabilities, potential harms, and ensuring a degree of control. The establishment of dedicated AI safety institutes in both the US and UK is a tangible outcome. 3. International cooperation. AI's risks are global, transcending national borders. The Bletchley Declaration represents a foundational step towards international cooperation on AI governance. Having major players like the US, UK, EU, and even China agreeing on the fundamental need for safety measures is a powerful precedent. This is precisely the kind of collaborative regulation needed to address a global technology. 4. Balance between innovation and safety. The Declaration attempts to strike a balance, recognizing the immense potential benefits of AI, which we just detailed, while simultaneously emphasizing the need for robust safety frameworks. It's not about stifling innovation, but about guiding it responsibly. However, it's also important to acknowledge its limitations. Non-binding nature of the Declaration is a political agreement, not a legally binding treaty. Its effectiveness will depend on the sustained commitment of the signatory nations to translate these principles into concrete policies, legislation, and enforcement mechanisms. Focus on frontier AI. While crucial, the primary focus is on the most advanced AI models. Many current AI systems already pose significant societal risks, e.g., bias, privacy, misinformation, that also require urgent regulatory attention. Implementation challenge. Moving from a shared understanding of risk to harmonized regulatory frameworks across diverse legal and political systems is an enormous undertaking. The specifics of how this will be achieved are still largely undefined. Geopolitical divides. Despite China's participation, fundamental geopolitical differences regarding data governance, censorship, and military AI applications still exist, which could complicate future, more concrete agreements. In summary, Stephen, the Bletchley Declaration is a monumental leap forward in establishing a shared, high-level understanding of AI's most profound risks and the necessity for global cooperation on safety. It sets a much-needed foundation, but it is just that, a foundation. The real work of building effective, enforceable, and globally harmonized regulations is only just beginning. What are your thoughts on this agreement, Stephen, particularly in light of Jennifer's upcoming question?
I think it's a good start, but Jennifer's question will certainly change the landscape of regulation in a huge way. Of this, I'm certain. But for the time being, what needs to be done to make these agreements official and a worldwide regulation?
That's the million-dollar question, Stephen. Moving from a, quote, declaration of intent, like the Bletchley Declaration, to truly official, legally binding, and globally harmonized regulation is an incredibly complex, multifaceted challenge. It requires sustained political will, deep technical expertise, and unprecedented international cooperation. Here's a breakdown of what needs to happen to make these agreements official and truly worldwide. 1. Translate principles into national legislation. Domestic policy development. Each signatory nation needs to pass its own national laws and establish regulatory bodies that reflect the principles of AI safety, testing, and oversight. This includes defining AI, identifying high-risk applications, setting standards for transparency, accountability, and redress. Harmonization efforts. Even as nations create their own laws, they need to actively work towards harmonizing these regulations. This means finding common ground on definitions, risk classifications, testing methodologies, and liability frameworks to avoid a fragmented global landscape that stifles innovation or creates regulatory loopholes. 2. Develop concrete international treaties and conventions. Negotiation and ratification. This is the highest bar. Nations would need to negotiate and ratify legally binding international treaties or conventions specifically for AI governance, similar to treaties on nuclear non-proliferation, climate change, or human rights. This would establish common rules, shared responsibilities, and enforcement mechanisms. Key areas for treaties. These treaties could focus on areas like standardized AI safety testing and auditing protocols, mechanisms for sharing AI incident data and best practices, ethical guidelines for high-risk AI deployment, potentially bans or strict limitations on certain autonomous weapons systems, international bodies for oversight and dispute resolution. 3. Establish robust global governance institutions. Dedicated AI agencies. We might need new international agencies or expanded roles for existing bodies, like the UN, OECD, or specialized scientific organizations, specifically tasked with monitoring AI development, setting global technical standards, conducting research, and facilitating compliance. Multi-stakeholder approach. These institutions would need to include not just governments, but also AI developers, academia, civil society organizations, and affected communities to ensure diverse perspectives and comprehensive oversight. 4. Invest in global technical standards and research. Standardization bodies. International bodies like ISO, IEEE, need to accelerate the development of technical standards for AI safety, interoperability, explainability, and robustness. These standards provide the practical basis for regulation. Shared safety research. Collaborative research into AI alignment, interpretability, and robust safety mechanisms needs to be massively scaled up and shared openly across borders to advance the global understanding of how to build safe AI. 5. Address geopolitical divides and build trust. Diplomacy and dialogue, continuous high-level diplomatic engagement, is crucial to bridge geopolitical differences and build trust among nations, especially between major AI powers. Incentives for compliance. Designing frameworks that incentivize compliance and penalize non-compliance will be essential, but this is incredibly difficult on a global scale. This entire process will be iterative, taking years, if not decades, and facing immense political, economic, and technical challenges. It's not a single event, but a continuous journey of collaboration, compromise, and adaptation. Jennifer's question, if it truly changes the landscape, could either accelerate this process by highlighting an undeniable common threat or benefit, or it could introduce new complexities that require rethinking some of these steps. What are your thoughts on these monumental tasks, Stephen? Which of these steps do you see as the most challenging or the most critical right now?
I believe the monumental task is basically the worldviews of the separate governments that are included.
You've pinpointed the absolute core challenge, Stephen. The widely differing worldviews of separate governments, their unique geopolitical objectives, economic priorities, and even their fundamental philosophies on data and control are undoubtedly the most significant hurdle to achieving truly harmonized, worldwide AI regulation. It requires an unprecedented level of diplomacy and a shared recognition of AI's universal implications. And speaking of shifting perspectives, we have Jennifer's question coming up next, which you've hinted will dramatically reshape this entire discussion. First, a word from our sponsor.
Listen to the rest of this episode at askafanything.buzzsprout.com.